Howdy folks, welcome back to the Guitar Woodshed. It is July, so the short sleeves are nice. I apologize for being a little bit vacant as far as posts in this vlog recently. I am actually excited to be back though, and I'm going to try to get in and do some more of these on a more regular basis. Life just gets busy sometimes. But today I wanted to talk about a thing that is guitar-centric, which is bending. Alright? So, we have an advantage over a lot of instruments in being that we can be very expressive with our instrument. So, piano players, for instance, want to do this. But they can't. And when they can do it, with those little modulation effects, like those little bars on the side of keyboards, you can tell it's a keyboard. Some people are pretty darn good at pulling off that electric guitar sound on a keyboard and getting those bends. Like Stevie Wonder, for instance, does that stuff, and who cares if it's not a guitar, it's Stevie Wonder doing it. But regardless, like, this instrument is known for being able to be expressive and do things like that. So everyone from beginner players to advanced players can always be working on their bending. And I think if we just take it back to more of the beginner sense, we need to think about it in terms of, well, what is bending? What do I need to do? Alright, so you need to work on your finger strength. That's one thing. That's the main thing. And the second thing would be working on ear training. So being able to hear pitches, being able to hear the difference between half steps, whole steps, step and a half, all that stuff, matching pitches, you know, working on exercises that will help you improve your strength and your ear all at once. So let's talk about that in this vlog today, we're going to talk about it in those two bullet points. I'm using my 408 today, and this is my Fuchs Blackjack 21. Alright, so what I'm going to start doing is I want to talk to you about finger strength. Right? Finger strength and how you can improve it. Don't get those grip master things. Those things are ridiculous. Just play and work. Right? Now, if you're, let's just say we're in A minor, because it's the people's key. By people, I mean guitar players. Because you've got your whole fretboard down and up to go to. Let's talk about one finger bends. The time you're going to be doing that is if you're playing in A minor and you're on the 5th fret bending the string. Using one finger makes sense, right? So if I'm bending this note up a half step, so you can hear I'm kind of trying to match the pitch there. The thing that you want to understand is half step bends are not that hard, so there's not that much room to get to that note. You don't have to cover that much space like you would a whole step bend. So using one finger there is completely fine. Remember, when you're doing blues stuff too, there's also a quarter step, which makes it seem a little bit out of tune. Right? That's super bluesy. We can get into that a whole other time. But anyway, half step bends on your 5th fret here, bending up a half step. Not a big deal. Doesn't take that much finger strength, but you need to work on it when you first start playing because it might take a lot of finger strength. You got to build up those calluses. If I move up to the 5th fret, sorry, the 7th fret, and I want to bend up a whole step to this note, I want to use not only one finger, but I want to put the 1st and 2nd finger behind it to give me a little bit more strength. Right? Now if I try to do that with one finger, I can do it because I've been playing for 26 years and this is a pretty strong finger now, but when you first start out, you might find that pretty hard to get under that note and push it up. I'm playing with 10s, so these aren't super, super thick strings, but they're average, like the average guitar player usually plays 10s. Now, what I would want you to do is if you're going to practice this, and remember you're getting your 1st and your 2nd finger behind your 3rd finger, all 3 fingers are pushing. See, I'm over bending a little bit with all 3. Alright? show you a little bit closer to the camera, right? So, if I am playing on the 7th and the 5th fret, right? And I'm bending this one up to meet this pitch. So 5th fret, 2nd string, 7th fret, 3rd string. And I'm bending the 3rd string. I'm trying to get those notes to be unison. Right? So that's the thing, that's the ear training thing we're talking about. We're bending a whole step from this note to this note. This note is the same as this note. It's the same as this note. Open 1st string. Alright? There's a little exercise you can start working on. Right? Alright, now, if I want to bend a step and a half, that's the same as this note, it's an F. Alright, so, here's my F. That's another thing you can do too. Make sure you're using your ear just to be able to hear those differences, because it's important to start to train your ears to hear all the different notes that you could grab within the pentatonic scale or the major scale, whatever you're working in. If you're bending, you don't want to be that guy that gets up and bends every note flat or overbends. A lot of people tend to overbend. You'd be surprised, but I mean it's an important thing to really, to stand out in front of all the sea of guitar players when you're up there. The most important thing is having a really good feel, having your tone, and a definable tone that is not abrasive, that's sweet, that is pleasing to the ears. So feel, tone, and just, not even technique, really. I would say feel and tone are the most important things. You want to play to the song and all that, but you want to have a good feel. And if you're up there and you're overbending notes, that is not a good vibe to have when you're on stage with a bunch of other players. So what you can do is start working on that stuff, and then on the other side of that coin, when you get comfortable with bending these notes and training your ears to hear those pitches, what you can then start working on is vibrato. There's several exercises that we could talk about with vibrato, but we can get into vibrato in another vlog. So start with this stuff. Remember, finger strength, 1st finger, 2nd finger, and 3rd finger, they can help each other out, right? To get behind other bigger bends. And pitch, being able to pick out, specific notes within the scale, bending into unison so you can train to hear that. And then you get to the point where you're bending and you'll be able to already know where that note is, so you don't have to do the unison anymore. You can just bend that D to that E, and it's fine. Alright guys, so I will catch you next time, and we're going to talk a little bit about guitar, right? So get back into that woodshed, keep cruising, keep working, and we'll see you next time. Bow!